Have you ever wondered how we measure up, not just as a country or a society, but as a species? I mean, what if we could zoom out, way, way out, and see where humanity stands on a truly cosmic scale? Well, today, we're going to explore a really fascinating tool that was designed to do just that. I mean, really think about it for a second. Is our progress measured by our economy? Or how fast our internet is? Those things feel kind of small when you're talking about the grand sweep of history and the universe, right? To really figure out a civilization's potential in the long run, you're going to need a completely different kind of ruler. And that ruler is the Kardashev Scale. It's such a brilliant idea because it's so simple. It just cuts through all the noise, culture, politics, you name it, and focuses on the one thing that powers everything else: energy. The basic idea is that the total amount of energy a civilization can control is the best and really the only true measure of how advanced it is. What's so cool about this is where it came from. This wasn't just some science fiction daydream. Nope. Nikolai Kardashev came up with this scale back in 1964 for a super practical reason. He was trying to figure out how we could actually find aliens. His logic was that any civilization advanced enough to be noticed across the vastness of space would need to be using mind-boggling amounts of energy. They'd be shining like a cosmic lighthouse in the dark. So, okay, we've got this cosmic yardstick. The big question, the one we all want to know, is where are we on it? This is our "you are here" moment on the map of the universe. And the answer is we're at about a 0.73. Yep, that's right. We haven't even hit level 1 yet. We are, cosmically speaking, a type 0 civilization. We're still in our planetary diapers. And by the way, that fractional rating, we can thank the legendary Carl Sagan for that. He's the one who tweaked the scales so we could measure these in-between stages. So why the low score? Why are we stuck at 0.73? Well, it all comes down to where we get our power. As you can see, a whopping 80% of it comes from burning fossil fuels. We're basically running on the ancient, compressed remains of dead plants and dinosaurs. We're still digging up our planet's past, instead of harnessing its full live power. And here's a wild little twist. When Kardashev first created the scale, his definition of a Type 1 civilization was basically the energy level of Earth in 1964. By his original math, we were almost there. But today, the definition has gotten way more ambitious. Now it means harnessing all the available energy on our planet. The goalposts have seriously moved, and the challenge ahead of us is absolutely massive. So, we know where we are, and we know it's a steep climb. But what does that climb actually look like? What kind of power are we talking about at each step of this cosmic ladder? The scale is broken down into 3 main stages. You've got Type 1, which is a planetary civilization. Then you leap to Type 2, a stellar civilization. And finally, the big one, Type 3, a galactic civilization. And let me tell you, each one of these steps is an almost unimaginable jump from the last. Let's start with Type 1. To get there, we need to be able to harness about 10 to the 16th watts of power. Now, our current global energy use is around 10 to the 13th watts. So we need to get thousands of times more powerful than we are right now. With that kind of power, you become true masters of your home world. A Type 1 civilization can capture all the sunlight hitting the planet, tap into all its geothermal heat, and has probably cracked nuclear fusion for clean, unlimited energy. We're talking about the power to control the weather, to stop a hurricane in its tracks, to prevent earthquakes. But, and this is the big one, achieving this requires a level of global cooperation that, let's be honest, feels pretty far off right now. And that brings us to a really critical idea. This transition from Type 0 to Type 1 might just be our great filter. You know, that hypothetical wall that stops civilizations from making it big? To get to Type 1, we have to solve climate change, we have to solve resource shortages, we have to solve global conflicts, all problems that come from our current energy habits. If we fail, we might just fizzle out, never leaving our home planet. But let's say a civilization passes that test. Let's say they reach for Type 2. Well, the numbers just get insane. We're talking about 10 to the 26th watts. That is 10 billion times more powerful than a Type 1 civilization. So what does that get you? A Type 2 civilization has totally outgrown its home planet and is now harnessing the entire energy output of its star. How would you even do that? The most famous idea is something called a Dyson sphere. Imagine a giant swarm of solar collectors completely surrounding the sun, capturing every single bit of energy it puts out. It's just mind-bending stuff. And then somehow it gets even bigger. For a Type 3 civilization, the power level is almost impossible to wrap your head around. 10 to the 37th watts. That's another jump of 10 billion times. A Type 3 civilization isn't just harnessing a star, it's harnessing its entire galaxy. We're talking about colonizing billions of star systems, maybe even tapping into the power of the supermassive black hole at the galactic center. This means they've mastered things like faster-than-light travel. And the fact that when we look up at the night sky, we don't see any obvious signs of this, that's the heart of the Fermi paradox. If they're out there, where is everybody? But all this talk about more and more and more energy makes you wonder, right? Is this really the only way to progress? Is just getting bigger and more powerful always better? Or have we been looking at this whole thing the wrong way? Well, that leads us to a really cool alternative proposed by a cosmologist named John Barrow. He flipped Kardashev's idea on its head. Instead of measuring how well you control the huge macro world of stars and galaxies, his scale measures how well you control the tiny micro world of atoms and information. The Barrow scale goes inward. You start by manipulating genes, then molecules. Then you get down to individual atoms with nanotechnology. And maybe, eventually, you're manipulating the very fabric of space and time. It's a totally different path to power, one based on precision and efficiency, not just brute force energy consumption. So, okay, setting that fascinating idea aside for a moment, when might we actually reach Type 1 on the original scale? Well, nobody really agrees. You've got optimists, like the physicist Michio Kaku, who think we could get there in just 100 to 200 years if we keep up a high rate of growth. Then you have more cautious models that factor in our limitations, and they point to a date more like the year 2371. So after all this wild speculation about Dyson spheres and galactic empires, what does any of this really mean for you and me, right here, right now? How is this anything more than just a cool thought experiment? I think this quote really nails it. The real power of the Kardashev scale today isn't in its ability to give us an exact timetable. It's much more like a powerful myth or a story. Its job isn't to predict the future, but to get us to think about our future on a much, much grander scale. You can think of it like a compass. It points towards a potential destination, and in doing so, it forces us to look hard at the path we're on right now. It makes us confront our dependence on fossil fuels and our struggles to work together as a planet. It makes us ask a really important question. Are the decisions we're making today actually putting us on track to become a sustainable planetary civilization, or are we heading for a dead end? And that leaves us with one last huge question to think about. When we imagine the ultimate destiny for humanity, what does it look like? Is it that outward journey that Kardashev imagined, where we conquer stars and galaxies? Or is it the inward journey of the Barrow scale, where we master the fundamental building blocks of reality itself? The path we start walking down today will decide everything.